I'm going to start off with an uncomfortable fact, or an uncomfortable opinion. I guess would probably be more accurate. My uncomfortable opinion is that the debate last night was terrible for the Republican Party. Truly bad for the Republican Party. Now, I know that this cuts against the grain of a lot of what we're hearing from various commentators. I know that I disagree with Michael Medved about this, for example. I think the debate last night was not geared toward winning Republicans' friends and influencing people. See, the question that you have to have when it comes to these debates is, what is the point of the debate in the first place? What's the point of the debate in the first place? Well, I think that there are various parties involved. If you're a candidate, the point is obviously to rev up your support, to say things that get noticed. If you're the RNC, which is the organization holding the debate, the goal, theoretically, is to put your best foot forward. It's to show the best about your various candidates. If you are the media, theoretically, your goal should be, if you are the person asking the questions, your goal should be to ask questions that distinguish the candidates from one another, but do not make you the center of attention. I think that last thing was not accomplished last night. I think Fox News was the center of attention. I think Fox News made a very conscious decision that they wanted to be the center of attention. I think that the Fox News moderators, Chris Wallace and Megyn Kelly and Bret Baier, I thought that they're all wonderful on TV. I thought that the questions that they asked were sometimes compelling. I also think that Fox News' agenda in all of this is to make itself look significantly more moderate. And today they're winning plaudits from CNN and MSNBC and Slate, and I think there's a reason for that. I think Hillary Clinton was sitting there watching this and laughing her butt off. As well she should have been. Because the fact is that this Republican Party, this debate, it looked like the kiddie pool. And among Republicans, we can say that we like certain candidates better than others, and we're going to spend a lot of the show today going through how various candidates did, one by one, giving them grades, giving them report cards. But overall, the question that we should be asking ourselves is not, did this debate help you make up your mind about the candidates? That's only one of the goals. The big question should be, did this debate win any new Republican supporters? And I think you'd be hard-pressed to say that it did. I think you'd be hard-pressed to say that it did. And it didn't even winnow out the field properly. I think one of the goals of some of the moderators was obviously to show that Donald Trump was not a real candidate for president, which is a fine notion. I don't believe that Donald Trump is a real candidate for president. I'm not a Donald Trump supporter, as you know if you listen to the show. However, that goal was completely elided by the fact that by clocking Donald Trump with a tire iron, basically, what you're doing is you're allowing his supporters to feel as though they have been victimized and aggrieved. You do that and you basically guarantee that Donald Trump runs as a third-party candidate. So Fox News, I thought, did not do a particularly good job with this debate. There were actually two debates. There was the pre-debate, and then there was the actual debate. There was the small kind of 7-person debate, which, again, I thought was handled pretty horribly by Fox. They had the completely empty audience. That basically killed Rick Perry, who was trying to make jokes, and you can't make jokes in an empty room. They had a bunch of candidates on the stage like Jim Gilmore and Lindsey Graham, and you're wondering to yourself, why are you watching these people? Carly Fiorina was sort of predestined and preordained to be the big winner in that particular debate. I thought Bobby Jindal did fine in that debate as well, but that was just a warm-up for the evening debate. And the evening debate, I thought, turned into a sideshow. And we'll go through it. But I will say that a lot of the questions that were asked, I thought, were better suited for MSNBC or CNN. I think that there were questions that were asked about abortion, for example. Donald Trump was asked about the war on women because he said mean things about certain women on Twitter, because he once said something on a reality show that was then taken out of context and used as a way to bash him. And again, I am not the great Trump defender here, but I do not think that the debate served any purpose when it came to disqualifying Donald Trump for his supporters. For everybody else, I think they looked and they said, okay, this confirms what we knew. But I think that by the same token, there are a lot of people who look at Trump and they say, okay, well, did he really have that coming? Did he deserve that? Why the pile on? Was this debate effective? Was it useful? It was useful for Fox News, again, 24 million viewers. It was useful for Fox News in allowing them to moderate their position. Again, it allowed them to feel as though they were fair and balanced. but it did not serve any Republican interest in broadening the appeal. And what's troublesome about this is it was such an opportunity. And this is what bothers me and really gets me in the gut. It was such an opportunity to really allow so many of the Republican stars to shine. And there's so many Republican stars on that stage. I mean, truly terrific candidates. A bunch of them. And some of them had their moments, but it was all enmeshed in what can only be described as a Tour de France bicycle crash in which everybody plummets off the side of the mountain, and then we're just trying to pick up, okay, who was less injured than whom. That was my overall impression of the debate. And it started right from the top. At the very beginning, they asked a very good question, and the question I thought was fine. I thought this question was fine. The question about Donald Trump was really targeted in this question, and that was, would anybody in this field not pledge to endorse another Republican candidate on the stage if this person, if you lose? If you lose, will you run third party, basically? And Donald Trump raised his hand. He said, I would think about running third party. And here is what that sounded like.
Gentlemen, we know how much you love hand-raising questions. So we promise this is the only one tonight. The only one. Is there anyone on stage, and can I see hands, who is unwilling tonight to pledge your support to the eventual nominee of the Republican Party and pledge to not run an independent campaign against that person? Again, we're looking for you to raise your hand now. Raise your hand now if you won't make that pledge tonight. Mr. Trump. So, Mr. Trump, to be clear, you're standing on a Republican primary debate.
I fully understand.
The place where the RNC will give the nominee the nod.
I fully understand.
And Brett Baer going on and on here, pushing home the point. Yeah, we all get it. We all get it, Brett. But it's pretty clear that Fox News is not interested in Trump getting the nomination. Again, that's all well and good. That's fine. Although, presumably, you shouldn't have that agenda going in. But the point is this. You'll hear Trump's answer, and then you'll see why Fox News failed in doing what apparently was one of its chief goals here, which was to disqualify the only candidate they created. By the way, Fox News created Donald Trump. Okay, for Donald Trump, no one cares about Donald Trump's political opinion, except that he was on Fox News with Greta Van Susteren on a routine basis. And now Fox News is destroying him for the pleasure of viewing, and also so that presumably they are considered a fair and balanced news network.
That experts say an independent run would almost certainly hand the race over to Democrats and likely another Clinton. You can't say tonight that you can make that pledge.
I cannot say. I have to respect the person that if it's not me, the person that wins. If I do win and I'm leading by quite a bit, that's what I want to do. I can totally make that pledge. If I'm the nominee, I will pledge I will not run as an independent. But and I am discussing it with everybody, but I'm talking about a lot of leverage. We want to win, and we will win. But I want to win as the Republican. I want to run as the Republican nominee.
And basically, he's saying, I'm going to run as a third-party candidate if I and my supporters feel that I'm not treated fairly. And that's basically what he said in the past, which is a really dumb answer. It is a dumb answer. The only problem is, gang, that if his supporters feel he's treated unfairly, it gives him the credibility to go out and run a third-party candidacy. And so when the rest of the night is spent beating Donald Trump up with a tire iron, it gives his people an excuse to do the unthinkable and go third-party. Trump is going to do what Trump is going to do. But if you really want to destroy Donald Trump's candidacy, all you truly have to do is ask him about his policies. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened. I thought a perfect example of this was Megyn Kelly's question to Trump about how he has described women in the past. And people were saying, oh, well, he'll be asked this question by the left media. Okay, that may very well be that he'll be asked this question by the left media. So let him be asked that question by the left media. But when you have the first debate with 24 million viewers and your goal is to showcase the Republican candidates, please do not take 3 minutes of debate to ask about why Donald Trump called Rosie O'Donnell fat. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. It simply doesn't. But that's what happened.
One of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president? And how will you answer the charge from Hillary Clinton, who is likely to be the Democratic nominee, that you are part of the war on women?
Okay, now let me ask you a question. You think that question helps Republicans or hurt Republicans? Just generally. You think that helps Republicans or hurts Republicans? Now, there's a way for Trump to swivel that question to Hillary Clinton. He could use the Kathleen Willey line, that Hillary Clinton is the war on women, that she chortles over the rape of children, which she has done. There's tape of her doing it. That Hillary Clinton has attacked all the people that Bill Clinton sexually harassed and had affairs with. He didn't do that. But the question is that effective? Is that something that makes Republicans look good or even gives them an opportunity to look good? Or is that a gotcha question? And why, of all networks, is Fox News doing gotcha questions other than to get ratings and appear fair and balanced as opposed to actually helping Republicans do better? And let's be real about this. Republicans watch Fox News because they want to watch a conservative network, not MSNBC of the right. As we continue, we'll talk more about the debate, and we'll grade some of the candidates. Ben Shapiro Show, AM 770 KTTH, KTTH.com. This is the Ben Shapiro Show, AM 770 KTTH, KTTH.com. We're going to get to rundown of how the candidates performed in just a minute, but I am going to finish this point here about how Fox News handled the debate. I thought they handled it very poorly. I know I'm in the minority on that. They had big viewership, huge viewership, 24 million people watching. It's the biggest debate in presidential history. And I thought that it made Republicans look like a bunch of clowns fighting each other, and I thought that was a purposeful strategy by some of the moderators as well as Fox News. I thought it was Jerry Springer with podiums. And I thought that it did not do the Republicans any favors. It may have allowed some Republican primary voters to distinguish some of the candidates from one another, and that's all well and good. But that's not the whole goal here. One of the goals is to actually provide a platform for the Republicans to make their case to the American people instead of slapping at each other like a bunch of fifth-grade girls. And it doesn't help when you're asking questions like this to Donald Trump. I'm sorry, there's so many reasons why Donald Trump should not be the nominee. So many reasons. This question from Megyn Kelly is a gotcha question, and it's a question that has no good answer, and it's also a question that seriously, it makes so little difference in a time when Iran's about to gain a nuclear weapon. I don't even understand why this is on the
One of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president? And how will you answer the charge from Hillary Clinton, who is likely to be the Democratic nominee, that you are part of the war on women?
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct.
It's a fine answer by Donald Trump, actually, and this is one of his better answers. But he was asked questions, Donald Trump was. He was asked questions specifically about donating to Democrats, declaring bankruptcy. He was asked questions about leaving Atlantic City. And why not just ask him, Donald, you supported single-payer health care, right? He was asked one question about health care at one point, and he couldn't handle it. He was asked a question about immigration. He couldn't handle it. Just treating him with a bit of courtesy and letting him blow himself up would have been the best strategy, even if you want to get rid of Donald Trump. But that wasn't the goal here. The goal was to provoke fisticuffs, and fisticuffs there were in abundance. You had Chris Christie and Rand Paul going at it. You had Donald Trump and Rand Paul going at it. Rand Paul, by the way, last night, we'll get to Rand Paul, but Rand Paul was basically a spider monkey on crack. I mean, he was just going after everybody he could get his hands on and ripping off their faces. And it was not a good look for the senator from Kentucky, who I think is a very intelligent man, but did not look good last night. Ben Carson basically got left out of the first half of the debate. Ted Cruz basically got left out of the second half of the debate. The entire structure seemed focused on how can we start a couple of fights. And it makes for good TV. Fox News is great at producing TV. This was not a good debate for the